That's impact.
The right way.
That's impact.
The right way.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Let's Get It Right with me, your host, Vernon Wright. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at RightLeader, hashtag That's Impact the Right Way. So obviously, as you see, the title of this video is Get Some Grit. Let me say that one again. I like saying that one myself. Get some grit. So real quick, you guys know that the amount of time for this video is limited on Twitter. Make sure that you head over to the DisruptED app for the full episode, or YouTube as well on the DisruptED TV channel. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump in. There are a lot of people talking about the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. Now, with that, I'm not going to go ahead and pretend to tell you that I know everything about grit, because I don't. But here's what I do know. What I do know and what I do want to share with you today is how I see grit, because I see a lot of people talking about this on Twitter and on social media, talking about what grit is. A lot of times we ask for people to do things, but we haven't provided clarity. So this is my attempt and my contribution at adding some of that clarity. So are you ready? Let's jump in. So some say grit is perseverance. Some say grit is mindset, a growth mindset. Some say grit is challenging yourself. Some say grit is effort. Some say grit is even attitude. Here's what I say. What I say is grit can be all of those things. Yeah, sure, it can be all of those things. I don't argue with that, right? But I do want to go ahead and give you, as I try to do often in my episodes, a different spin, a different take on what grit is. Now, a lot of times people ask, or they say when they're talking about grit, that grit is being persistent and having willpower, right? Now, depending upon when you're watching this video, it may be before the new year, it may be after New Year's, okay? So either way, we see every year people go to the gym and they're real gung-ho. They got a lot of willpower. Yeah, I'm going to work out and I'm going to do everything. And I made my New Year's resolutions. And then what happens? By Valentine's Day, there is no more evidence of them being committed to those resolutions. So what I know is this about grit. And again, I don't pretend to be the expert, but I do know this. What I know about grit is this. It's more than willpower. It's more than persistence. We have to go ahead and get deeper with grit, and in terms of how we see grit, for it to really be applicable in our lives in a sustained way. Anybody can do something for one day, but can you do it for 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, or 1 lifetime? Even like 1 decade, okay? So here we go. Let me go ahead and give you some quick thoughts about grit. Again, the name of the episode is Get Some Grit. I like saying that. Get some grit. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Quick question. What has gotten you through the toughest times and the most challenging times in your life? Has it been willpower? Here is what I say to you. There have been times in your life when willpower has faded. Persistence, the will to persist, has faded. And I will tell you what has brought me through in my life, and that has been my identity. And my identity has been this. I'm going to come through. I'm going to persevere, and I'm going to win. And the game is over when I win. The game is over when you win. The game is not over because you failed. The game is not over because you made a mistake. The game is over when you win. The game is over when you realize your potential in your life. So 3 points for you. Number 1 is identity. Number 2 is purpose. Number 3 is passion. Number 1, identity. Who are you? At your core, have you even asked yourself who you are? Have you written down who you are? Okay. Do you have a personal mission statement? I stated mine on Twitter just a few days ago. Go check that out if you haven't already. Next, purpose. What is your cause? What is your endeavor? What is the thing that you are absolutely committed to? You go to bed at night and you're committed to it. You wake up in the morning and you're committed to it. You're absolutely convinced in your mind, in your heart, and in your spirit that it is what you're put on this earth to do. It is your calling. Some people call it that, your calling. The next one is passion. What makes you tick? What lights the fire within you? Have you even sat down and thought about that? And another thing with passion, what do you have faith in? What's your faith? We don't talk about that a lot. What is your faith in? Whether your faith is in a higher power, whether your faith is in someone else, whether your faith is in you. And trust and believe, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to need to have some faith in yourself to make it, to get to where you need to get to, which is victory. But what and who do you have faith in? Have some faith in yourself. Let's start with that today. So I came up with 4 letters to go ahead and describe what grit is and what it means to me. G is greatness. We're destined for greatness. Yeah, that means you, that means me, that means all of us. We're destined for greatness in our own specific way. The R is refining. We're always reflecting and refining and getting better. Folks, reflecting and refining is where it's at. We're always incrementally making small steps. Always reflecting and refining. I, identity. We've already talked about that. Who are you? What are you about? And the last one, T, which is one that hasn't always been talked about. But we're going to go ahead and do it right here. And that is talents. What are your talents? What are you absolutely committed to using within your resources that you have control over and to serve this world? What talents are you using to serve this world and to make this world a better one? This, my Twitter followers, ladies and gentlemen, I humbly submit to you is my version of grit. So the 4 letters, grit. When someone asks you if you have grit, you can tell them G, greatness. I have greatness within me. R, refining. I'm always reflecting, refining. Yeah, and you betcha I'm getting better. I, identity. I know who I am, and I can tell you who I am, and just ask me, I'll let you know. T, talents. What talents do you have within yourself that you are absolutely committed to using to help this world be a better place? So there you have it, grit. This is what grit means to me. What does grit mean to you? I challenge you to go through the 4 letters of grit and to go ahead and define that for yourself. So there you have it. Until next time, remember, feed your brain, feed your soul, and absolutely grow your role. That's impact the right way. See you next time. That's impact
The right way.
That's impact.